In Southeast Asia, violent criminals are battling for control of the trade in wild animals, a lucrative business that is devastating entire species. In Thailand, tiger populations are on the brink of collapse. Now, armed forces and undercover agents from around the world join together to fight back, to hunt down a notorious trafficker and catch a kingpin making a killing from these crimes against nature.
Oh, there we got it. We got it going on.
Early morning, the Mekong River, Thailand's northern border. Captain Tong Yung of the Thai Royal Navy is on the hunt. He and his soldiers are stalking dangerous prey.
เราสงสัยว่าในพื้นที่นี้จะมีการกระทำผิดกฎหมายโดยเฉพาะเรื่องการลักลอบค้าสัตว์ป่า
The unit is part of a multinational task force currently involved in an anti-trafficking investigation called Operation Big Sylvester. Its mission: end the trafficking of a product with a street value that pound for pound can equal that of cocaine. Tigers.
คือสำหรับเจ้าหน้าที่ปฏิบัติงานเนี่ยค่อนข้างที่จะอันตรายเพราะว่าเนื่องจากว่ามันมีมูลค่าที่สูงทั้งกระบวนการมีอาวุธที่จะคุ้มครองพวกกระบวนการนี้มีอาวุธแล้วก็มีกำลังที่จะคุ้มครอง
These men defend a border region 100 kilometers long against armed traffickers. Despite the odds and ever-present danger, Captain Tong Yung's unit has won some major victories.
ชุดลาดตระเวนของเราเนี่ยได้ยินเสียงเรือวิ่งหนีไปคนรถปิกอัพก็เพราะว่ากลายเป็นเสือนะครับเป็นเสือ
This bust was a blow to the traffickers, but it came too late to save these big cats. To end this slaughter, Operation Big Sylvester is targeting the source, setting its sights on a large trafficking syndicate allegedly supplied by a criminal known as Surat.
Where was he getting this tiger?
Operation Big Sylvester was brought together by Steve Galster, a former U.S. national security investigator. Steve currently runs the Freeland Foundation, an organization dedicated to ending wildlife trafficking. This morning, Galster and Freeland officer Pim link up with Captain Tong Yung's unit to share intel about Surat's operations.
ที่นู่นดูเหมือนว่า
ตรงต้นไม้จะมีสะพานจะเห็นเนี่ยท่าพวกเนี้ยสามารถที่จะเอาของเนี่ยข้ามไปอยู่ตรงนู้นก็ได้คือในส่วนของเรา
Steve receives updates on Surat's recent activity and realizes that taking him down won't be easy. Captain Tong Yung confirms what Steve and his team have suspected. Surat has connections to local law enforcement.
It could be that some people are paid off by the traffickers, and I'm hearing about an official who might be kind of clearing the way for the smugglers along this track and another one up north.
Galster and his team have been after Surat for months. Working together with the Royal Thai Police, they've managed to infiltrate his crew, and tomorrow their investigation reaches a critical point. They've set up a meeting with Surat and his crew to discuss the purchase of a tiger. But his alleged connections to crooked cops could put lives in danger.
this guy would have that kind of protection from the police. He's concerned about the potential of uniforms clashing with uniforms. That's very, very touchy.
Freeland's base of operations is in Bangkok, but this investigation will primarily take place in northeast Thailand, a hotspot for wildlife trafficking. In a hotel room near the meeting site with Surat, Operation Big Sylvester kicks into high gear. Bangkok police officer and Freeland collaborator, Lieutenant Colonel Attapan Sudse, will oversee the operation.
อยู่ในตัวเองมีกล้องอยู่ในตัวเองเนี่ยสาระที่เองจะต้องทำก็คือว่าพยานหลักฐานเดียวที่จะเอาผิดมันได้
Today's objective is to meet with Surat to finalize the buy. The deal will have two elements: the handover of the money and the delivery of the animal. Once both are completed, Attapan and his men will swoop in for the arrests.
เองรู้ว่ามันทำอะไรมันค้าสัตว์ป่ายังไงตัวนิ่มที่เราล่อซื้อกันมา 2-3 ครั้งเนี่ยพอเอาผิดมันได้แล้วแต่ว่าที่มันพูดเรื่องเสือเนี่ยงานมันใหญ่ขึ้นมันเป็นเรื่องของการค้าสัตว์ข้ามชาติแล้ว
For safety, he's brought his own crew. While they provide cover, another team member, codenamed New, will meet with Surat and discuss the details of the tiger purchase.
Today's mission is very important because New gets in there and gets pictures, hopefully, of everybody who's in the network. If he gets them to agree to sell, then we've got our hook inside the gang that we've been looking for.
Attapan has worked hard to ensure the safety of his people in this operation, but in undercover work, nothing is guaranteed.
หนูไม่ใช่ตัวผมนะแต่ว่าผมก็ต้องห่วงนั้นผมก็ได้แต่
New must play this one perfectly. There's little question what will happen if his cover gets blown.
พอเราเป็นสายเข้าไปเขาก็ต้องมีความผิดเขาก็ต้องเอาเราตายหรือไม่ก็โดนจับโยนแม่น้ำโขง
New won't be heading into danger alone. Attapan and confidential informant A will provide backup. And the Freeland team will monitor his every move with a tracking device hidden in his vehicle.
All right, so it's going to go in here and then attach somewhere into the truck.
In his war to end the illegal trade in animals, Steve has put together a small but highly effective anti-trafficking unit. Each member handpicked for their specialized skills and commitment to the cause.
We've got Bim, who's been with me for quite a while. She knows how to handle the GPS software. She understands all the laws, international, local. Ankuri, similarly, from India, has a background in wildlife conservation. She's seen it up close and she's seen it in the courtroom. She used to work with prosecutors trying to get them to prosecute wildlife cases.
Ankuri is also skilled with the tools of covert investigations. Hidden cameras and audio recording devices are key to prosecuting traffickers. New will have both on him when he meets up with Surat to discuss the deal.
This is the camera, so if you want to see someone, don't turn your head, turn your whole body.
The camera New is wearing will collect valuable evidence, but it also raises the stakes of the operation.
สมมติว่าเขาเดินมาตบก็อาการก็ปกตินะไม่มีอะไรเพราะว่าอันนี้มันก็ถ้าดูแล้วก็เหมือนซองบุหรี่ซองนี้ถ้ามีอะไรออกอย่างเดียวมาใกล้ตัวสัมผัสตัวสงสัยออกอย่างเดียวชั่วโมงกว่านะดูเวลาให้ดีแล้วก็แท็กอุปกรณ์ไป
While Attapan and A get into the tail car, New gets into character. Operation Big Sylvester is underway. The meeting will take place in the town of Ratanawapi. It's a long way from their base of operations in Bangkok. For Lieutenant Colonel Attapan, that means nobody can be trusted.
ขับดีๆอย่าให้ตำรวจจราจรหรือทางหลวงเรียกมาในตัวเองมันมีกล้องเดี๋ยวงานมันแตก
On the outskirts of Ratanawapi, Attapan and A fall back.
พอแล้วเดี๋ยวมันเข้ามาเองได้แล้ว
They'll monitor the situation with GPS updates from Pim back in the hotel. But for now, New is on his own.
แย่เหมือนกันนะพี่นะถ้ามีปัญหาขึ้นมามันก็เสียวๆนะเข้าถึงดงเสือแล้วก็
In a sleepy village just down the road, New meets up with the targets. His hidden camera is rolling. as he comes face to face with Surat. With the introductions over, Nu is eager to make the deal and get out. But the suspects seem interested in getting to know their new client a little better. Surat says they have access to a tiger, and after receiving the payment, they'll lead Nu to the town of Chayapum for the exchange. As they discuss the details, one of the traders mentions something disturbing. Nu doesn't want the traffickers to harm the animal he's buying. To ensure they don't, he concocts a cover story about a ritual sacrifice. It's a gamble. His request might tip off the traffickers, but it's the only way to ensure they don't kill a tiger. Nu's played this game before, and after some small talk, the traffickers buy his story. As Nu leaves the site, he gets a glimpse at some suspicious onlookers. Back at the hotel, Adapon agrees with Nu's hunch. He knows a cop when he sees one, and his gut is telling him that those onlookers were local police.
As we feared and suspected, there is some corrupt police involvement. He's got a picture of a cop in here who seems to be somehow connected to and presumably protecting.
Surat's operation seems to be more connected than they thought. If the police are directly involved, this case just became far more complicated.
Most cops at this point would back off because they're up against other badges that look like they're local. They've got their own connections, there's too much money, too much power, too much to lose. And amazingly, we've got a team that wants to keep moving forward.
It's estimated that as few as 3,500 wild tigers are left in the world, down from nearly 100,000 only a century ago. The realm of the tiger, once stretching thousands of kilometers across Asia, has now been reduced to a few small, isolated enclaves. Their populations further devastated to supply products to a handful of traffickers. It is a big and dangerous business, one Steve hopes to put a dent in very soon. Back at base, a call from Surat sets the deal once again in motion. The cameras are prepped, and the team goes over the plan. While Adapon transfers the money to Surat at one location, the other suspects will lead Nu and A to an undisclosed location to get the tiger. After the exchange, the teams will make the arrests.
There's dangers facing all these guys, especially Adapon, because he's dealing with a major crook from the area. At least he's plugged in. And none of the local police or the authorities know that he or we are here doing this. So he's going in with absolutely no cover except a few of his own men.
Surat has asked that the money exchange be done with the buyer in person. It's a risky request to go through with, but Adapon is committed to taking these guys down at any cost.
แล้วใครจะทำให้ดูว่ามันจะเสี่ยงยังไงมันก็ ก็ต้องทำแล้วก็ผมก็เต็มใจทำ
Attapan will meet up with Surat without his firearm. But this stun gun might give him an edge if the buy goes wrong.
ก็ติดไปเผื่อไปเจอเรื่องราวอะไรที่เราไม่คาดฝันจริงๆมันก็ไม่ได้น่ากลัวอะไรมากหยุดคนนิดหน่อยก็เป็นผมก็ใช้งานมาเรื่อยๆ
The Tiger team rolls out. But while they get on the road toward the meeting place, Attapan gets a disturbing call from Surat.
ฮัลโหลเป็นไงเรียบร้อยดีป่ะเดี๋ยวจะให้หนูเอากงไปให้อ่ะนะตามที่นัดไว้อ่ะนะ
Surat is pulling out of the deal. His reason points to a leak.
แล้วผมไม่ชอบนะที่เอาเรื่องที่เราตกลงกันแต่เรื่องนี้มันก็ดังแล้วเนี่ยไม่เป็นไรเดี๋ยวไงผมโทรหาหนูทีตอนนี้พอดีผู้ใหญ่โทรเข้านะชัดไหม
The warning Surat received from the police might just be a coincidence, but it could mean Attapan's unit has been compromised, and that would put the lives of his people in danger.
ชัวร์บอกสตีฟกลับแล้วก็เดนโทรเรียกกำลังกลับมาก่อนยิ่งกว่าชัดอีก
Yes, Steve. We want you to be here. The information leak.
The deal with Surat is blown. And with it, possibly the entire investigation.
If there's a leak, everything that we've been working for, all the money and time we've spent, all the concentration is basically down the Mekong.
To assess the new developments in the case, they'll head back to Bangkok and regroup at home base.
So we're back in Bangkok from Nong Khai. That operation didn't work. We're not exactly sure what happened, whether it's completely blown or not. So we're reevaluating the situation, throwing the intelligence on the table, trying to figure out who's who so we know how to get into this syndicate.
Steve's first stop is to pay a visit to a legend in wildlife protection, a true crusader for animal rights in Thailand, and an age-old nemesis to those who traffic in tigers. Meet the princess. Princess Tan Ying is a member of the Thai royal family, but she's better known for her eccentricities and a passion to protect the animals of Thailand. For years, she's waged a one-woman war against traffickers, bankrolling a team of undercover operatives with her own money. Luckily for Steve and Pim, she's kept detailed records of everything. And after months of earning her trust, she's ready to hand over her intel in the hopes that they can finish what she started.
It's a lot of information.
Yeah,
Everything.
everything.
Names, telephone numbers.
I got everything. Everybody's here.
For the investigation, this intel is a gold mine, a window into a trafficking web that has been operating for years. For the princess, it's a chance to finally be heard.
Why share with us? You don't want to share with another group?
No. I share with them, but they don't share with me.
They didn't use the information?
Not at all.
This information will help us a lot with the right people.
Right.
We'll do our best.
Steve and Pim need to perform a thorough analysis of the intel.
That's the best.
At Freeland's downtown office, the team gets to work making sense of what Steve has now dubbed the Princess Diaries. Pim and Ankuri fed the data from the Princess Diaries into a program used by law enforcement to analyze large criminal networks. The result is called an I-2 chart.
It's starting to come together between the good work that Pim and the ladies are doing with the I-2 and this incredible wealth of data that the princess has acquired through her informants over the last 4 or 5 years. It's helping to fill a lot of blanks and draw connections to people.
One name catches their eye, and reveals a connection that might blow this case wide open. The I-2 chart indicates that Surat may not be at the heart of the trafficking syndicate after all.
He's important, but it no longer looks to us like he's on top.
It appears that at the center of this web-like network is a female trafficker known as Jay.
So actually the information from the Princess Diary that we can overlay with the I2 chart, this one seems to be very important, that same person that Atapon target.
Okay, so Jay is turning out to be possibly the target. Okay.
It's a name Adapon recognizes.
He heard them talking about a Jay. But, you know, it's a nickname. It could be another one. But here's a Jay that's been involved in tiger poaching according to old records and who was never arrested. More and more, our target now is to look at this interesting woman.
The diaries suggest Jay's base of operations is a farm near the town of Chayapum, the same location where Surat's traffickers plan to hand over the tiger.
Well, we know that Sahab used to be getting his tigers from somewhere, and Jay might be his supplier.
It's a critical break in the case. Capturing Surat might lead them to Jay. And Freelance suspects Jay is using her farm to raise captive tigers for the black market trade. This is the new face of the tiger trade in Asia. Large-scale farming of animals for slaughter and sale.
Basically, tigers are almost extinct in the wild. And most of the tigers that we're seeing trafficked right now are not coming from the wild. They're coming from farms.
Tiger farming is illegal, but some are lobbying to lift the ban on farms and tiger trading. They claim farming tigers meets demand while protecting wild tiger populations. Conservationists insist that farming only increases demand for wild tigers, which are cheaper to acquire than a farmed animal that must be housed and fed. This facility, operating just outside Bangkok, is permitted as a zoo. But undercover agents monitoring the facility revealed questionable practices.
What they're trying to do now is reproduce them as fast as possible, which is why these farms have sprouted up all over the place, which look like they're there for conservation. They call them zoos. But the real purpose of them is to breed as many as you can and sell them out the back door.
To investigate further, a raid is organized involving Thai authorities, the Freeland team, and an observer from U.S. Fish and Wildlife. But when the bust occurs, no solid evidence of wrongdoing can be found. Colonel Piak of the Royal Thai Police suspects a leak.
ข้อมูลข่าวสารเนี่ยเรารับมาเมื่อประมาณอาทิตย์ที่แล้วก็ได้มีการปรึกษาหารือระหว่างทีมงานด้วยกันข้อมูลข่าวสารอาจจะรั่วไหลบ้าง
In Thailand, registered zoos are allowed to own tigers. This facility operates as a public zoo. But the state of the grounds and the temperament of the animals lead investigators to other conclusions.
The only way they're making money on these animals is selling them, because nobody's coming to see these animals because they're totally afraid of strangers.
Officials comb through records looking for any ties to alleged traffickers like Surat. The grounds are searched for any sign of foul play. A set of freezers contains a number of dead animals. On the floor of one room, what looks like blood. Though the teams find no major violations, they suspect there's more here than meets the eye. But without strong evidence, no charges are filed. Steve and the teams believe Jay is operating a farm that specializes in wildlife trafficking. New has some news that will put them one step closer to shutting it down. Surat has made contact again, and he's ready to deal. With any luck, he'll lead them straight to Jay. Operation Big Sylvester is back in business. The city of Udon Thani in northern Thailand will serve as headquarters for the anti-trafficking operation. With the possibility of a leak, nothing can be left to chance.
We're still worried about New, in fact, even more so, because if they did figure out what's going on, and that's why they pulled back, this could actually be a trap.
The team goes over their roles and rehearses the details of the buy.
Basically, Attaporn's going to go up and meet and hand over the cash as soon as he feels that a deal's in place. Nui, the undercover guy, he's going to drive the truck down with two of the dealer's assistants with a cage in the back to go pick up the tiger.
Ankuri readies the surveillance cameras, while Pim calibrates the GPS software that will track their movements. It's critical that this equipment work perfectly. If there is a leak, Nu's life could be in grave danger. In the hotel garage, Nu's vehicle is fitted with the GPS transmitter.
If we lose him, it's like a needle going into a haystack. I mean, we don't know where we're going today. We can't lose him.
Ankuri rigs up a backup camera hidden in a stuffed animal.
There's a little ledge behind the back seat, so we just seat it there, make sure it's angled correctly.
Upstairs, a call from the traffickers sets the wheels in motion.
ตอนสัก11 โมงเที่ยงเนี่ยนั่งกินกาแฟกันแล้วก็พอให้หนูรับเสือใช่ไหมพอให้หนูรับเสือเสร็จปุ๊บเนี่ยเดี๋ยวให้หนูโทรกลับมาบอกผมเองว่าเสือใหญ่เสือเล็กกี่กิโลเนี่ย
Ankuri preps the buy money, and the teams head out. Planning and preparation give way to instinct and intuition. On the road, Nu and A have picked up the traffickers. But the streets of Udon Thani make tailing them nearly impossible. Congested roads and ill-timed traffic lights slow their progress. Before long, the cover team is left behind.
We were inside Udon Thani, which is not a small city. The lead car lost them. They took some turns, got ahead, made a traffic light before we did, and so they shot ahead.
Nu and A are headed straight into the traffickers' den with no backup. With the cover team scrambling to locate them, it's up to Steve and Pim to keep this operation alive.
This tracking device system is the only way we're going to keep track of Nu. We have no idea where we're going. We don't know where the deal is going down. If we lose him on the tracking device, then we've lost him. And, you know, anything could happen. I mean, he's out there picking up a tiger from a black market dealer. That can't happen.
The traffickers are leading Nu south, toward a familiar location.
Are we on the way to Jayapur, maybe?
Yeah, probably.
So maybe we are on the way to Jay's.
While Steve and Pim track Nu's movements on his way to pick up the tiger, Attaporn connects with Sarat at a coffee shop to hand over the cash. Their cover story involves Attaporn playing the son of a military man. His would-be father, the assistant to a well-known Thai army general, needs a tiger to use in a ritual sacrifice that he hopes will bring good luck and prosperity to his men. The details are finalized, and the men leave to exchange the money. A call from Attaporn reveals that one half of the deal is done.
Pim's just got word from Attaporn that a transfer has taken place, the deposit for the tiger, and the good news is it wasn't a cash transfer hand-to-hand. It was actually put into a bank account with a name on it. So this is great document evidence trail for the courts. Once the arrest is made, they can nail that guy.
With the money transferred, all they need now is the tiger to make the bust. But another call reveals that the team may have been double-crossed. The traffickers now claim they don't have the tiger, but the money has already been transferred. Attaporn could have his people freeze the transaction, but that would effectively blow their cover.
If he hold this money back from the bank, it means
Looks like he's a police officer.
Do you think they just took the money and ripped us off? Because as far as from their point of view, Atapon is an important customer. Why would they want to piss him off?
I know. Yeah, no, that's a possibility.
The traffickers may be testing the team, hoping that if they are cops, they can be drawn out into the open. It's decision time. Pull back the transfer now and end the operation, or call their bluff.
We might have been ripped off. It's a lot of money, but I don't know right now. I think we gotta check back with Adapon and regroup.
Operation Big Sylvester is too close to nabbing Surat to abort now. Allowing the traffickers to take the money without delivering the goods is risky, but the gamble pays off. The traffickers now claim they have a tiger. The deal is back on.
This morning, our informant knew he's gone to Ratanawapi. He's picked the tiger traffic up and they're traveling down south, where we believe they'll be heading towards Chayabhum, near where the tiger exchange is going to happen.
Nu brings A with him as a backup. At the hotel, the team's ready for the sting. Final details are checked. But a test of the tracking unit reveals a serious problem.
มันไม่ทำงาน
อยู่บริเวณไหน
ยังอยู่ที่รัตนวาปีอะค่ะ
The GPS unit attached to the truck is not responding. Without it, if the cover team loses the truck again, Nu and A will be heading into danger without a safety net.
มันหยุดอยู่บริเวณไหน
So this is the last signal that the tracking device pick up.
They'll have to reboot the transmitter manually. But with the traffickers already in the truck, Adapon and Pim will have to improvise.
แต่ยังไงเขาก็ต้องมาตามเส้นทางตามนัดใช่ไหมคะ
เอ็งอยู่ไหนแล้ววะเฮ้ยอุปกรณ์มันมีปัญหานะ
Their path south runs right through town. Following Adapon's lead, Nu makes an excuse to stop at the hotel, so Pim and Ankuri can get a crack at fixing the GPS.
The CIs arrived here with the cage card. While they're having lunch, I've got to go reset the transmitter.
It's a risky move. But sending Nu and A into the lion's den without backup is not an option. Upstairs, Pim verifies that the transmitter is back online.
I think it's worked now because we find it out.
So it's on. We're back in business. We're going to be able to track him. This is safer for everybody, and it means we can find out where they go to hand over the tiger.
Nu, A, and the traffickers get back on the road. Steve and the cover teams are close behind.
We're back on the roller coaster, following the cover car, which is following the caged car that's going to pick up the tiger. Hopefully the signal sticks. How's it going there, Pim?
It still go on, yeah.
บอกไม่ว่าถึงตลาด
The truck with Nu, A, and the traffickers is close. Adapon makes the call to back off.
We're going to stop here because we're getting too close.
The cover teams pull off at a roadside temple and await the next move. It's a chance for the teams to regroup. And for Adapon to seek some last-minute assurance. Months of planning and preparation have come down to this. It's on Adapon to bag the traffickers and get his men out in one piece.
ผมก็เลยสวดมนต์ให้คุ้มครองลูกน้องที่ไปในรถซึ่งผมก็สวดบริเวณนี้มีแต่ภูเขาเมืองไทยมีเรื่องเจ้าป่าเจ้าเขาก็มีสิ่งศักดิ์สิทธิ์จริงแล้วก็อยากให้คุ้มครองทุกคน
Meanwhile, at a nearby restaurant, Nu, A, and the traffickers stop for some lunch, killing time until the car with the tiger arrives. Before long, a call comes in. The car with the tiger is close by. As they head off, Nu manages to get a message to Adapon. The deal is going down. On the road, the cover teams race to the location.
That's Adapon up there, isn't it?
Adapon is in the lead car with the arrest team. They can't pounce until the transfer is made, but they need to be within striking distance when the tiger is handed over. The Freeland team is hanging back, giving support and providing the cover team with GPS updates. Nu and A arrive at the meeting. It seems the traffickers have one more surprise in store. The traffickers have brought a tiger cub. The team was expecting something bigger, but for the bust, the size of the animal is irrelevant. The arrest teams are closing in on the location, but the GPS isn't accurate at such close range. They've overshot the location and will need to double back. Nu and A are trying to stall. The transfer is underway, but the arrest teams are nowhere in sight. They've located the site. They roll up to make the arrests, but the traffickers bolt.
Oh, there we got it. We got it going on. Cops just busted these guys. They transferred the tiger from that van over to them on the side of the road, a dirty deal. As soon as they pulled out their badges or their guns, these guys ran. They had to fire off their guns to get them to stop and had to tackle them.
With the suspects in custody, Steve's attention turns to the cub.
We should look for something to hold the water in so I can drink.
Operation Big Sylvester scored an important victory, but if they keep the investigation moving forward, they still might capture Surat or even Jay before the day is done.
Somebody else is on the run there? Yeah, he ran. Yeah, he's out. Yeah, he's guilty. 2 minutes, we'll be at another place where we can give it water. Let's go. แก้วหรืออะไรก็ได้
เอาน้ำเปล่าขวดนึง
As the teams roll out, a local cop arrives on the scene. He might just be responding to the gunshots, but Steve and Adapon think he could be one of the syndicate's men, gathering intel or threatening to stop the investigation.
Okay, let's go. We don't want these guys to slow us down. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Good, good, good.
He's keeping it going.
Adapon has managed to talk his way past the local police.
He's a tough cop. He's moving it ahead.
And get Operation Big Sylvester back in motion. The local authorities are now aware of the sting and seem ready to cooperate. Even though they risk tangling with crooked cops, Steve and Adapon decide to bring the suspects to a nearby station for holding.
They got him, but they have yet to get the main person. I'm not going to ask Adapon in front of the other cops because that would be showing his strategy in front of potential protectors or anybody who could leak it out, but I'm anxious to find out what's going to happen next.
Pim and Ankuri tend to the tiger cub. She's dehydrated and has a small wound on her head. While the traffickers are processed inside, Adapon and Steve search their car and come up with some extraordinary evidence.
Okay, this is the name of the trafficker and her address.
An address, bank records, and a familiar name. The car to deliver the tiger is registered to a well-connected Thai police officer who just happens to be married to Jay.
There's evidence here, and he wants to follow up on it right now. Actually, he's not telling the local cops. We're going to sneak off right now and go to the farm. Okay, he wants us to get ready and go.
Outside of town, at the end of a dark dirt road, the team approaches what they believe is Jay's farm. Everyone is eager to make the bust, but as they reach the entrance, Adapon decides to stand down. It's too dangerous. With no backup and the potential that Jay has local police protection, a takedown now would be risky. Adapon and Steve also know they need to catch Jay in the act. If she got word of the bust this afternoon, the evidence they need to prosecute might already be gone. Steve takes GPS coordinates of the farm's location.
Okay, Pim, take down this number, could you?
They'll keep an eye on Jay's operation and gather evidence for future use.
Okay, I think we've been here long enough. We better head back.
In the morning, the team checks in on their new friend. The cub, now named Sylvia, has been brought to a wildlife sanctuary. She's weighed and given a once-over. Despite a few small injuries, her prognosis is good.
Well, she looks playful enough, but she's got a number of patches on her skin where the fur seems to have fallen off. And the tip of her tail is completely bare. She's got a wound on top of her forehead right there. I feel very good for her that she's not going to end up slaughtered or sent somewhere else. She's going to live out her life in captivity, but at least she won't be eaten. That's good.
Jay looks to be a very, very smart cookie. She has set herself up in Malaysia for some of the wildlife she's getting there. She's got connections to the farms in Thailand, connections in Laos, and connections in Vietnam, which is where she's originally from. Jay's a tough target. On top of all that, she married a policeman, so we know she's protected.
ดีใจที่หยุดเขาได้อย่างน้อยระยะหนึ่งแล้วก็มีกำลังใจจากผู้บังคับบัญชาอย่างเช่นทุกวันนี้นะครับผมว่าผมหยุดได้อีกหลายครั้ง
I know that we're not going to let this story go, and it's only a matter of time before we get all the right police in order to back up Adapon to go in and make sure that this woman is no longer dealing tigers.
For the moment, the investigation into Jay's operation will continue, but she has now become the hunted, the target of dedicated teams of men and women throughout Thailand and beyond, working hard to end trafficking and shatter the syndicates profiting from the brutal trade in animals.